Welcome back to Buck What You Heard. My name is Gene. You can reach me at Buck What You Heard. You follow me, I will follow you back. And I've got a full house. I'm excited about this. First game of the season is over, and let's talk about it. Kind of get your thoughts in there. I'm going to start off with my special guest, Michael Pless from Real Bucs Talk. If you're not following Real Bucs Talk and their film breakdown, you really need to do that. Mike, how you doing tonight, man?
Oh, I'm doing great, man. It's awesome to be back on Buck What You Heard. So honored to be here, and yeah, looking forward to this next game. As last week's was disappointing, but then again, not surprised as well.
Yeah, and that's kind of how I feel. And the other special guest we have on, I had him on the hot seat. He called in to kind of talk about things, so I kind of put him on the hot seat, and he got all those questions in a minute. Well, I did kind of throw him a curve with that Odell Beckham question, but Chris, how you doing, man?
Hey, what's up, Gene? I'm doing well.
All right. Tell everybody how they can get a hold of you.
Yeah, you can find me on Twitter at TB_Bucks_for life. I also contribute to All Things Buccaneers. I'll be coming out with a weekly column on Saturday with my key points to the game. It's pretty much just 6 points of where I think the Bucs should do and how they can win each game.
Awesome, man. And the co-host of the show here, Ken Barrett, not to be mistaken for Shaq Barrett. How you doing, man?
Pay him. No, I'm just kidding. I'm doing great, man. How are all y'all doing?
Yeah, if you're related, man, maybe we can get a kick down, man. Maybe we can get some
I'll take 0.5%.
So guys, I'm gonna go around the horn here. This game, a lot of people are jumping out the window already. They're like selling out the season. Hey, this is all over. The Bucs are gonna have to blow it all up. And I've seen that on social media. And plus, I'm gonna start with you, man. What were your takeaways for this game, and how do you talk people off the ledge that are really flipping out about this game?
Yeah, I mean, to start, defensively, I thought they played very well. I thought there was a lot of good things to take away from the defense. They were very fast. Secondary looked much improved. To hold Michael Thomas to what they held him to is very impressive. And then, pretty much shut down Kamara, outside of the 3rd and 10 screenplay. But yeah, I mean, defensively, I thought there's a lot of good things to look at. Offensively, I mean, we started off fast. I mean, you go right down and score. You saw a lot of good things on that drive. But for whatever reason, once that second quarter hit, the Saints started getting momentum. The turnovers started happening, penalties. So just a lot of things that they need to work on as far as getting, better chemistry and better cohesion. I think the play calling could use a little bit more diverse as far as using play action more. And I would like to see the tight ends get more involved. But yeah, I mean, there were some positive things, but I mean, we're right there in the game. You had a score of, 24-17 for a while. And unfortunately just couldn't get anything going. You had a lot of 3 and outs, and the Saints they just don't make mistakes, and they took advantage of it.
Yeah. Chris, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I went on a podcast with Stink before last week's game, and I told everyone, I'm like, look, no matter the outcome, don't overreact. If we win, doesn't mean we're going to the Super Bowl. If we lose, it doesn't mean we're not going to the Super Bowl. It's week 1. I expected mistakes. Even with the preseason, it's a new offense for Tom Brady. He's got to get used to the wide receivers. The chemistry wasn't there. It's game speed and practice speed are 2 different things. And what we were seeing, the videos in training camp, wasn't necessarily what you were going to see, once week 1, when you go live. So, yeah, I won't overreact. Brady's a pro. He'll go fix his mistakes and probably go light up the Panthers next week against the young secondary.
There we go. And Kenny, your thoughts?
So I was a little sad. Sunday was sadly my birthday, and Bucs let me down a little bit. However, just touching on the game, I think the defense was a lot more impressive than I thought they would be. The Saints are very good at mitigating pressure. So JVP got a sack, but Shaq was pretty much non-existent. There was good push up front. Sue didn't do as well as I would hope, but I think Vita did really, really well. Obviously, our linebackers did amazing, other than the whole whatchamacallit, the Dean Andrew Adams incident with Jared Cook. I thought they did a great job of keeping the Saints within, staying within that 20-yard range. For the defense, I would love for Todd Bowles to really focus on when Taysom Hill's in the game and understanding he's doing something with it. And just make it, when you're playing like a team like the Saints, Drew Brees' arm looked dead. So I said right before the Jared Cook pass, like, keep everything and don't worry about anyone getting behind you. And of course, Jared Cook gets past him, but that was just a blown coverage. It was nothing crazy, but I'm not going to overreact with anything on the defense. I think they're going to be very solid, and I think they're going to be more consistent this year, even what they were the second half of the year last year when they were amazing. I just think they're going to be more consistent throughout the year. With the offense, I said on our last podcast that I thought they'd be 80% of the way there. It turns out they were probably like 30, maybe 40%. So we just got to hope that each week they just take it up a notch, 5-10%, and just hope by October, November that they're rocking and rolling. I'm not too concerned offensively, other than Donovan Smith.
Yeah, guys, for me, I'm going to go out on a limb. I'm going to say the Bucs will beat the Saints next time they play them. If everybody's healthy, they will beat the Saints. I promise you that. The Bucs beat themselves. You look at a pick six and that interception. That's 14 points right there. I thought that, like you guys all talked about, the same thing, familiarity, that cohesion that we talk about. The Bucs didn't have it on offense, but on defense, you've got a squad that you brought everybody back through free agency. You were able to keep everybody, and your core and your rookies contributed. So your defense is a little bit farther ahead of the curve than the offense with a new quarterback, new tight end, and you're bringing them into a system that, they're, as you guys talked about off camera, that collaboration. So I really believe by the time the Bucs play the Saints again, they'll be a little bit cleaner. Things will be a little bit more cleaned up. I expect that from Tom Brady. He expects that from himself. And I know, working with Bruce Arians, I think they will get to that point. So, for me, that was a good game, because I said that this game is going to be a measuring stick. This is where the Bucs are. I mean, you're playing the best team in the NFC South, and this is how you measured up against them in that game. And to me, it wasn't that the Saints went out and punched the Bucs in the mouth and beat them. The Bucs made costly penalties, and it's not all the penalties. It's when the penalties occurred that really hurt this team. So to me, I think you clean that up, this Bucs team is really looking like they're in a good position to really win some games this year. And, plus I wanted to, also, we were talking about the game itself. What are some of the takeaways that you had from the game, offense and defense?
Yeah, I mean, offensively, I see in the chat here, a lot of people talking about Donovan Smith. And yeah, that was definitely a surprise for me, because, I'm one of the ones that have, been talking him up and saying, he's not as bad as everyone thinks. And it just lays an egg there against the Saints. So didn't see that coming. Hoping he does a lot better this week against Carolina. He needs to step it up for sure, because the Bucs have guys available to take his place if necessary. So yeah, I mean, that was a surprise on offense. Defensively, I hope to see those blitzing linebackers more, Devin White and Levante, especially when they blitz. I thought that was very effective, especially in the third quarter. So I'm hoping to see that play more. And I thought they could have done that a little bit earlier to maybe cause, some turnovers and be a little bit more aggressive. So, but I know they're playing coverage, for the most part in the first half, and they did a really good job of it. So, against Teddy Bridgewater, he's kind of similar. He likes to get the ball out quick. So I'm hoping they can, attack more and get more pressure and do things like that, so you can create, turnovers. But that was pretty much it. I mean, you could go into special teams. I mean, that was a disappointment, having the block kick, nobody blocked up front, I guess. So, and then, Mike Edwards' play, that was just like, come on, dude, it's like, come on, man. And it's probably going to be, I don't know if that was one of the segments. I mean, I'm sure he made the cut, but yeah, that was pretty bad. You just can't have that take place. But yeah, that was pretty much my takeaways, other than what I said earlier.
All right, Chris.
Yeah, I mean, my takeaways offensively, I felt in that first drive, they kept the Saints off balance. And then after that, it just seemed to be a very vanilla offensive scheme. Nothing, like Pless said, it wasn't diverse. A lot of running on first down, which I didn't really like to see. You want to be able to pass on first down. Um, so, and then the offense just seemed very predictable, and I think the Saints knew a lot of what they were trying to do, and just they took away underneath routes. They made Brady throw deep. You weren't going to be able to run the ball in the Saints defense. They had the number 2 run defense last year, right behind us. So it was hard to run. I feel like the run game will get better next week. To the right side of the offensive line with Tristan Wirfs and Alex Kappa, they ran really well. It's just to the left side where, that one offensive tackle didn't do very well.
So, guys, I have a quick question for you guys. I don't know if you know this or not. Do the Bucs run off of a snap count? Like, do they have scripted plays? Like when you have your first couple of series, is that what we're looking at with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, or scripted plays, and then they go into whatever it is they do? And I'll take anybody's answer on that.
Yeah, typically what you have is 20 scripted plays to begin a game. And then after that, basically, what you want to do is you have these different formations set up because you want to see how the Saints or your opponent respond to the different formations. And then you kind of build your play calls after that. So when that's why the first drive looks so good. And I even think the second drive, even though it ended in a 3-and-out, I thought that was a well set up drive. So at the end of the day, I would love to see Brady just being able to check more. I guess not being. I'm curious of what your guys' thoughts are. If you guys think Brady just doesn't have the abilities yet in the offense to audible at the line of scrimmage, or if that's Bruce Arians, because we saw that Jameis didn't do it, and I haven't even checked Carson Palmer if he did it in Arizona.
He did.
But I felt like there was no. He did.
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
Well, because I was very surprised to not see Brady check at the line.
Yeah, I mean, I think he checked well. I mean, Bruce Arians said, he checked into the right place the majority of the time, or not most of the time.
Well, he killed plays. He didn't.
Yeah,
I was gonna say
he killed a pass play, turned it into a run play. But I think as he gets more comfortable with the system and more comfortable with the receivers, that he'll be able to audible more. I think he'll have that leadway.
Yeah, I mean, checking or killing to a run is a typical practice. Even Jameis did that. I was just curious. I'm used to Brady just fully calling plays at the line, fully changing everything from the protections to the routes being run. So that's where I thought I was a little bit surprised. I hope we just see some of that just, sprinkled in halfway through the rest of the year. I'm a lot more patient now than I was a week ago with this offense.
Yeah, and guys, that's kind of where I was with it. I'm looking at him, and there were plays where he knew what was coming, and that was really nice. We talked about the pre-snap reads. I've been on with you, Pless, and we talked about that, before the season started, and you got to see a little bit of that. I think it's just familiarity, to be honest. I think once Brady gets a little bit more comfortable with the offense and everything, I think that he'll start to make some of those decisions. And I don't know, maybe that's just an assessment. I don't know, but I know for me, you got a guy, this is the first game that you're actually playing with your team under live bullets and stuff. And, it's still a learning process because it's a new team. And that's kind of my takeaway from it. And it's not like he was in New England where he knows the playbook, he knows the players, he can go out and do what he needs to do. This is a new situation for him. So that's kind of, based on what you guys were talking about, that's kind of how I was seeing it.
Can I be positive real quick? I know I've been kind of the negative Nancy here. I think we have the best offensive tackle and safety from the draft. And I think that was obvious week one. Both came prepared and both balled out. And I'm really happy with those first 2 picks.
Oh, most definitely. Plus, what do you think?
Yeah, I would agree with that assessment by Ken. I think Tristan really played well, especially going up against Cam Jordan. I know he did have help on his side at times, but for the most part, I mean, he I mean, he pretty much handled, him very well. There was a couple rushes where he did get beat. That's going to happen, out of however many pass plays you had. I thought he did very good though, especially, just run blocking and pass blocking. I thought he's very solid. And then Antoine Winfield, again, I mean, he shows the instincts. He showed a lot of good things. Able to
pick in the end zone.
And he's physical. He laid the boomstick twice that I can remember.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, back in the draft, I thought he was the, complete package. I had him rated very highly as a safety. I had him as my top guy over Grant Delpit. So, I'm very pleased with both of them. I thought they played very well.
Yeah, I think Jason Light really redeemed himself because, I know we were huge Budda Baker fans and you wanted him to be in Tampa. He didn't make it, but I think this is a great move. And I think he's a perfect fit for this Todd Bowles defense. I want to kind of stay on the subject of new players, and I want to talk a little bit about Leonard Fournette. Again, and I kind of am premising a lot of this off of what I'm seeing in social media. Saw a lot of people complaining that Leonard Fournette didn't get enough snaps, in this game. And again, I feel like, this kind of thing needs to be addressed because number one, he hasn't been with the Bucs all that long, number one. And I really felt like Ronald Jones did a great job running the ball, seeing his lanes. And, as Chris mentioned earlier, New Orleans is like the number 4. They had the number 4 running defense in the NFL. So to me, when I look at this, you're not giving credit where credit's due. I felt like the Saints did a great job stopping the run as much as they could. Oh, sorry. And you guys, whoever wants to chime in, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean.
Yeah, no.
Go ahead.
Go, Chris. Go, Chris.
Yeah, I mean, you knew going into the game you probably weren't going to be able to run it very well. I think the Bucs tried to. They weren't. The big thing with running is you have to be efficient. It's not just about running it a lot. You have to be efficient while you're doing it. And the Bucs just weren't that efficient. Ronald Jones had he popped a 21-yarder off, but that was about it. Fournette had 5 carries for 5 yards, but he had more yards than that. But it's just that one play where Donovan Smith let the defensive end get by him, and he lost a bunch of yards. So and I expected Fournette about 5 to 7 snaps that game. As the weeks go on, he'll get more. He'll probably get about 30, probably 30%, 40% of the snaps, depending if Rojo doesn't do well, he might get more. But overall, you had 87 yards rushing. I'd just like to see more efficiency, not just get 5 yards here and then the next 2 runs you get like negative yardage. So.
Yeah, and again, we're still early in the season. There's so much time left to really see some different things happen. Just overall, and I do because I do want to talk about the Carolina game a little bit more and kind of move on from this. I want to go around and see, how do you grade this team overall, and then give me your grade on offense and give me your grade on defense. And Pless, I'm going to start with you.
I'd probably go like probably a C-. I mean, offensively, I would say it was average. So I give it, a C, and then defensively, I give them a B+. I thought they played really well. So I don't know if that averages out to a higher grade. I didn't want to take my time. So probably a B overall. The offense, I thought, again, it was expected. They had inconsistencies throughout the game. Going back to your Fournette comment, I like him being utilized in the game. That's good to get him some touches, but I didn't like the back-to-back runs with him on that one sequence. You got to do play action. And that's something that I don't understand why they don't do more of is play action, because every time they do it, it works. I mean, so they need to amp that up and utilize the play action, run on 2nd and short, 3rd and short, do those different things. They have to be different with the runs too, because I mean, we know every time Chris Godwin goes in motion and lines up as a lineman, it's going to be a run. But they did do a play action that one time, and it ended up being a big play for to Chris Godwin. So
you're preaching to the choir, man. I've been before I was on this podcast, when I was a writer at Peter Plink. I literally had articles dedicated to that formation, and it drives me insane because to my knowledge, to my memory, that's like one of like 2 play action off of that format or formation I can think of to 40 runs.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, that was my beef with the Fournette. You run them back-to-back plays, just doesn't make sense, especially after you get a penalty for big yards. You're pretty much close to the red zone, or if in the red zone, and you should just do play action there and get something going positive, and try to go for that tie and score. So I didn't get that, but yeah, I mean, that was just disappointing, but. I forgot where I was going with that because I got sidetracked with play action.
Exactly.
Well, speaking of play action, that OJ Howard touchdown, there were 3 players open on that play, and OJ was obviously, butt naked and by himself in that corner. And I don't know why we didn't do that the rest of the game.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, and that's something I talked about as well on my YouTube channel. We talked about using the tight ends and using 3 tight end sets, and they have those crossing tight ends. Gronk pretty much draw like a huge double team, and then you have Break coming across as well. So yeah, I don't understand why they don't do that more often. I mean, it's so easy to utilize guys like that and attack the middle of the field.
Well, and how about the 5 wide with 3 tight ends, and then they hit Evans on, or there was a pass interference, but Evans did that fade route and got the 40-yard PI on Marshawn Lattimore or whoever's in the slot, and then they never went to that formation again.
Yeah, I know.
Like that's the stuff I thought this offense was going to be, and that was just disappointing for me to see.
Yeah,
Chris, your thoughts? How are you grading this team?
Yeah, I mean, offensively. I'll give them a C minus. They weren't good. They were about mediocre, where I expected them to be. I really felt like going into this game, being Brady's first game, I expected more passes to go to the running back, to get Gronk more involved, because he is familiar with Gronk. He has a chemistry with Gronk. And that just wasn't the case I was hoping for. Defensively, they played really well. I'll give them a B+. Generally, if you want to get an A defensively, you need to have some sacks and some turnovers, and they just didn't do that. They had 1 sack, I believe, and no turnovers. And then special teams, if I can give them 100 Fs, I will.
F minus.
Like, you just can't. The Bucs have had the worst special teams in almost a decade. I mean, you got to be able to figure this out. Field position matters, and the Bucs just didn't have good starting field position most of the game. And
can I bring up something real quick since we're on special teams?
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah, so I don't know if you guys have listened to BA and Jake Arians talk about Bradley Pinion as a punter, and I know we had the weird Mike Edwards play. Okay, but is Bradley Pinion actually a good punter, or is he just a really good kickoff specialist? Because every time I see him punt, they're low and fast to the defenders or to the receiving team, and it's really concerning because I'd rather it be high and short, but it's low and short. There's no hang time. Or am I just seeing things?
I think it's inconsistent. I mean, he has times where he has good hang time, and he lets his coverage, go make the play. But then, it's hit or miss. It's either he hits it way too far and he outkicks his coverage, or like you said, it's a punt like Sunday where he does hit it low and the guy takes it back, 20 yards, and they're already in, our territory. So, yeah, I mean, that is a good point. I mean, he's one of the guys that definitely needs to be better. The coverage needs to be better as well. But I mean, you're only good as your punter, when it comes to coverage. So yeah, he definitely needs to pick it up. And yeah, that's a good point though. I mean, he's a great kickoff guy. That's for sure. I mean, he knocks it out of the end zone every time.
But so do 95% of the NFL kickers. But that's my issue is I've heard, I don't want to speak for BA, but I heard Jake Arians on a podcast recently just say that he was one of the best in the business. And I respect Jake and I respect Bruce. But I just have to hardcore disagree with that.
Yeah, I don't think you're wrong either, because it is up and down. Like
and that's the word that comes to mind is inconsistent. Chris, go ahead and finish your thoughts, and then I'll get over to Kenny here next.
Yeah, I mean, when it comes to any kind of kickoff specialist or kicker with the Bucs, I really tried to avoid it because after it's just after a while it gets old to talk about. But one thing I wanted to mention, what Pless brought up about with the wide receiver going in motion, and it's going to be a run play. I was actually listening to Anthony Beck's podcast, Walk in the Plank, and he said that one of the reasons why the Bucs struggle to run the ball is because when they bring that wide receiver in motion, they're bringing another defender in the box when that defender wasn't already in there. So I think that has something to do with it, and it makes a lot of sense. And he says, spread them out more, and that'll open up some more running lanes. So I'd like to see if the Bucs would actually do that, because I know last year when they did spread out, in shotgun and hand off to Ronald Jones, he actually was able to get some decent yardage. So,
All right, Kenny, your thoughts? How you grade?
Yeah, I'll give the offense a C. Right in the middle of you two, between the C plus C minus. I mean, there was some good positives there. Would love a little bit more run efficiency and a little bit more creativity in the play calling. And really sticking to what's working. What frustrates me the most is when something's working and then you just deviate from it. Defense, I will actually give them an A minus. When you look at the stat sheet, if you told me going into the game Michael Thomas was going to be 3 for 13 or whatever it was, and Alvin Kamara was going to score 2 TDs but only be 38 total yards of rushing before that Taysom Hill play basically padded his fantasy day essentially. I would have thought we would run away with this game by a 2-score win. So at the end of the day, I can't put anything on them. They did their job. They had terrible field positions. A lot of times Saints were starting in the 40 plus on their own 40, 45, usually around midfield, regardless of when they had the ball. And I think our defense, for week one especially, I think they get a slight bump in their grade. But special teams, F minus. I've pretty much talked about Pinion, and we've touched on I almost said Whitehead. What's his name? Mike Edwards. Mike Edwards play. However, I think our kicker did his job. I was surprised that he didn't get an extra point attempt late in the game when we went for 2. I would love just to see if he can actually be consistent because he's coming off of injury. And although the punt or the field goal block wasn't on him, the right guard and the right tackle were both beat. But I mean, it is what it is, and he still had a low kick, so I think it's an F minus all around on special teams. But this defense, I mean, if you play fantasy football, I would actually go pick them up, because they have a great playoff schedule, and they're going to have a couple tough wins or great games in the middle against the Packers, Chiefs, and the Saints. But before and after that stretch, I think you can ride them for the fantasy season.
Oh yeah. So for me, I'm looking at C minus 2 for the offense. The turnovers really kind of disappointed me. I was not expecting the turnovers in the fashion that we saw. But then when you think about, the Mike Evans interception, and that was on Mike Evans. Mike Evans rounded that route. He didn't run the right route. Communication seems to be somewhat of an issue here, and I think that's something they can clean up. As for that pick 6, that was kind of a deal breaker for me. I just felt like, everything else good that they did, that just kind of overshadowed all the rest of that. And then when you look at the offensive line as a whole, you saw the play of Donovan Smith kind of overshadowed the good play of some of your other offensive linemen. So yeah, C minus is a fair assessment for them. I think it's something they can build on. First game of the season, no camp, and I know a lot of people, and I've seen this on social media, and the premise of a lot of this, they're talking about that's not an excuse, not having preseason, not having camp, not having a lot of this, but to me it is. I mean, how do you get that consistency? The teams that have done well, the Chiefs, the Seahawks, the Saints, all those teams collectively, the majority of their core have all played together for more than a season. And so to me, that's a little bit different than a team that you've put together and you brought in new pieces and you got a new quarterback under center. I mean, that's a big difference. Then, you're not all on the same playing field, basically. So to me, it does make a difference. I know a lot of people won't agree, but that's kind of where I'm at. So For me, that's why I said C-. I didn't go lower and get all brutal or anything. Defense, I was very happy. Defense, they exceeded my expectations. Winfield played better than I ever imagined he could play. I was not expecting to see what I saw from him. Devin White, 100% healthy, where we didn't have him at the beginning of the season last year. You got this guy coming and balling out. Vita Vea, quietly moving the pocket. You can't run through the middle on this guy. There was a play where he stood up, he stonewalled a couple of offensive linemen, and the running back cannot run through. He's got to run back around, and it turned into a loss. So Vita Vea, I love what he's doing. He's consistently doing. JPP and Shaq Barrett, they're going to get theirs. So, I know everybody's all complaining about money, counting somebody else's money, but just wait until the end of the season. I promise you, JPP and Shaq Barrett, they're going to get there. So just give it time. I think this is gonna gel into something really great. And I was not expecting the defense to start out as fast as they did. A- for them. Special teams, I don't know. I would probably put them in detention if it were me. So I really don't know that I have a grade that I really want to give them. I want them to take this test over and give me a 10,000 page essay or something, because that's just how it was for me, man. It was special teams. They did everything I feared they were going to do. It's real talk. And I don't know if you guys remember, I said that was my fear, was the special teams, and what are they going to do? They have to do better. They really do, and it's just concerning to me. And hopefully they can get all that fixed. And again, Sean Williams, what's going on, man? You're not going to like my next comment. I do want to talk about that, the Saints trying to hang 40 on the Bucs. And again, you do what you do. That's cool. The Bucs stopped them. They didn't get 40. And then just because instead of trying to run the ball and run the clock out, you get your wide receiver injured and he's out. So, that's just kind of what it was, trying to be cute with the, that trick play. Why do you need a trick play? I just run the ball, but again, that's Sean Payton wafer lips, that he always got to do something like that. That's just who he is. And you know what? Again, so the game's over. I'm good with what happened. And, for the Saints,
later, bitch, get fucked.
That's just pretty much how I feel about it. So let's move on here to the Carolina Panthers.
Before we move on, I would just want to say one name. We haven't said his name this entire podcast. Can anyone guess who it is? Levante David, the best linebacker in the league. Just want to make sure I said that, and then we can move on.
Yeah. Oh yeah. We and I apologize, and I'll do better next time.
Well, it's just as fans. I mean, we're telling everyone else that he's the greatest thing at linebacker, and we just got to preach it ourselves.
Yeah, and you know what? I probably have taken him for granted, and I apologize for that. I blame myself for poor homeschooling. So let's move on to the Carolina Panthers. This is going to be a very interesting game. You're talking about a new head coach, Matt Rule, new quarterback in Teddy Bridgewater, and none of the usual suspects in Luke Kuechly, Greg Olsen, and was it Bradbury? Bradbury's gone as well, I believe.
New York, yeah.
Yeah, he's in New York. I thought I heard that name. So you're looking at a totally new, a bipolar team. It's a totally different team from what you saw in 2019. No Cam Newton, and it's kind of want to get your thoughts. I mean, have either of you guys watched a condensed version of the game yet?
Nope. I was waiting for the film to come out, but obviously that's not happening. So it's like, yeah.
Oh yeah, and Game Pass.
Later, bitch.
Yeah.
That's just kind of how
we need to get that shit trending.
Yeah.
You guys got to get it right. Get rid of that. Do me a favor and get rid of that stupid pre-game entertainment. Just get it out of there. Dump that money back into Game Pass, and let's make sure that we can get that all 22 because we need it.
Yeah, agreed.
But let's get on to this Carolina Panthers team. This is going to be a favorable matchup, in my opinion, for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. just looking at this team, and especially on defense, the one thing that stuck out to me was poor tackling. And they're a fast team, but a lot of missed tackles, a lot of missed angles. And, once you guys get to look at it, I'll get to dig into it a little bit more probably this weekend when we get it, or next week whenever we get the all 22. But I want to get your thoughts. Start with you, Pless.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, the Panthers, looking at it, you got a lot of new faces, new coaching staff, so new schemes. But you look at that defense like you're talking about, very young, fast though, especially up front, with Brian Burns. And then you have, they added Derek Brown in the draft, which is very impressive.
Yes.
Then you have, Gross Matos on the other side. So they got some young pieces up front. Obviously the Kawan Short and being injured, that could help us if he's not going to play this week.
I think he was day to day when last time I saw that.
Yeah, I know he missed practice today. So, if he's out, that definitely helps us. Then you look at their linebacking core. I believe they added Tahir Whitehead in the middle. So, he's a pretty good player, aggressive, downhill kind of guy. You still have Shaq Thompson over there who can, do some coverage things. And then you look at their secondary, Dante Jackson. I think he can be beat, obviously with the double moves. He's very aggressive on those. So that's something to look for and see if the Bucs do attack. But then, switching over to their offense, you got Teddy Bridgewater, who's, he's not going to be, super aggressive. He's going to take what the defense gives him. He's going to get the ball out quickly. So you got to find ways to, get pressure on him. And that's why I'm hoping they blitz more and really, attack that middle of the offense and really get after him to force him into mistakes. And then, obviously their best player is Christian McCaffrey. And, to be honest, I'm not really worried because the Bucs do have a good game plan against him. They've stopped him last year twice. I think they can stop him again this year. The receivers, you have Robbie Anderson you have to watch for going downfield. That's pretty much what he does. And then, DJ Moore's a very good route runner. But other than that, they don't really have much as far as weapons goes that really, scare me. It's really Christian McCaffrey and just watching the short passes for me, making sure you're, aware of that and then take advantage of
in front of you.
Yeah, keep him in front of you and take advantage of your opportunities to make plays on the football and come down with some interceptions.
There you go. All right, Chris, what's up, man? You've been I know you're probably, what the heck? When do I get to talk?
No, it's all good, man.
What are your thoughts, man? On this Panthers team, or have you gotten to watch them at all?
Yeah, I'll start defensively. They got a young defense. Luke Kuechly's a hard player to replace, so I think that's an advantage for the Bucs because Luke Kuechly's always killed the Bucs in some form or fashion. So without him being in the middle of the defense, I think that's a huge boost for our offense. What you really got to watch out is, like Plus hit on it, that defensive line. They can get after the quarterback. They have Brian Burns. He can, I think he had a sack or two on us last year. So as long as, he's going up against worse, I feel fine. If he's going against Donovan Smith, hopefully they get the ball out of Brady's hands quick. But offensively, they have lots of speed. And you have to, Robbie Anderson, he did a double move against Damon Arnett last week. Just roasted him for 75 yards. And then get more pressure on Teddy Bridgewater. I didn't see it a whole lot in the Saints game where we got a lot of pressure, but that's also because Breeze gets the ball out of his hands quick, and I just don't think Teddy Bridgewater can get the ball out of his hands that quick. So if you get pressure and get him rattled, move him off the spot a little bit, he'll make some mistakes. And then I think this is a game where I really see the run game opening up. I would like to not see runs up the middle towards Derek Brown because if that happens, you're not going to be successful. So I'd like to see more off tackle, off of Worf's side particularly, and get Ronald Jones out in space. Let him bounce it out to the outside and get out in space, and let him use his speed because he can kill you with that. And then just hopefully special teams, we can find a way to give Brady some better field position. If it's, at least start at the 25 if you can. and just try to take over the field position battle. Don't let Carolina get to the midfield off a punt return or a kickoff return. We're already starting in good field position.
All right. Kenny, what are your thoughts, man? What do you see?
When I was watching their game live on Sunday at 1, I was thinking one thing the entire game, and I've been saving it for this podcast. This team reminds me of Raheem Morris's Youngry Buccaneers. You have a solid quarterback. Think of Josh Freeman in that 10-6 season, a solid quarterback who played within himself, didn't do anything crazy, went 26 and 6 in terms of touchdowns and interceptions that year, something like that. Team played within their realm. They're young, they're hungry. That defense, they're fast, but they're undisciplined. So I'm hoping our offense just takes care of business. We get the run game going. Tom Brady just gets a little bit more comfortable. These receivers, get a little bit better on the same page now that they've had their legs under them after a game. Defensively, I'm worried about. I'm with Michael on this one. I'm honestly not that worried about Christian McCaffrey. He's going to get some yards, some catches, but for the most part, if we just limit the big plays, kind of what we did with Alvin Kamara, minus that screen pass, everything like that. I think we'll be fine there. What worries me is the double moves that Pless brought up earlier, and also Teddy's underrated legs. He's not known for his running ability, but him getting out of the pocket and getting first downs with his legs is what kept the Panthers in the game versus the Raiders, and what prolonged some good drives to them that led to points. And we just got to get the defense off the field in those types of situations.
There you go, man. I think he ended up with 26 yards rushing. And that doesn't sound like a lot, but he was able to move the sticks a few times doing that. So, yeah, most definitely. I mean, with Drew Brees never really left the pocket compared to what Teddy Bridgewater is capable of doing. So, yeah, you're 100% on with that. The one thing that I did notice about the Carolina Panthers, they were a little bit soft in the middle. That is definitely exploitable. That's where your tight ends come into play. That's where Tom Brady can feast. In my opinion, with whatever tight end he decided to put out there, I think they can actually take advantage of that. Again, that secondary, I feel like, regardless of who's out there, I think that the wide receiver core can actually do something against that Panther secondary as well. They're young, they're fast, but again, they're undisciplined, as you guys have all mentioned. And I think that this is a situation where a veteran like a Tom Brady, who can play within himself, can actually take advantage of some things like that.
Yeah, I don't know if you guys saw Matt Rule's comments today on Tom Brady. He was basically bowing to everything Brady has done in his entire career, how much he respects him and everything like that. So I think he's going to have his team ready and hungry. But they understand what they're against, and they're going to be underdogs for every game that they play this season, and they know it. So that's why the whole Youngry mindset. And I mean, we turned out a 10-6 season. I don't think they're going to do it, but they're going to win games that people don't think they're going to win this year. And we have to come out ready to play.
Yeah. And so, I haven't even really, talked about their special teams. I think, and again, speed. Matt Rule, the whole premise of Matt Rule team is speed. Whether it's offense, whether it's special teams, defense, that's what he looks for. Those players that are athletic and players that can all play together come together as a collective unit. And I think that's the mindset of the Carolina Panthers, is being able to do something like that. So we will definitely be, looking for that. I think that the Buccaneers can take advantage of some of the mismatches and make the most of it. As far as Christian McCaffrey goes, I mean, the Bucs were able to hold him to under 40 yards respectively in both of those games last year. So I think they do have a blueprint on how to shut him down, or at least slow him down to where he's not that big of a factor. And it kind of forces Teddy Bridgewater to do some other things. This is the first time I've been able to say this in, I would say, about going back to 2010, a decade, that the secondary is something I'm not really concerned about. Whereas in the past, I've just been, you always have it in the back of your head, man. Secondary, what are they going to do? How are they going to hold up against receivers? And when you look at the secondary and what they were able to do, I mean, Sean Murphy Bunting, just and some of these other players that were out there and the job they did on that wide receiver core for the Saints. I mean, that's something to be excited about. And I think that that's really going to help this defense a lot. And, as much as getting pressure on the quarterback from the front seven. So I think if they're disciplined and they execute the plays as they're assigned to do, I think they'll be just fine. And sorry, it's kind of going on and on there.
You're good.
So Pless, I'm going to jump back to you real quick. With this team, what do you see are the keys to victory here for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers?
Yeah, I think it's just playing more consistent throughout the game. Limit your mistakes, try to cut those out if possible. Offensively, I talked about it before. I would like to see more play action. We need to attack more on first down. Get out of this mindset of, oh, we need to run the ball on first down. No, you don't. You need to attack mismatches and you need to attack them consistently. So when you have guys like OJ Howard and you have Gronkowski and Cameron Brate, you need to utilize those guys against the linebackers of the Panthers and utilize the aggressiveness nature that the Panthers like to play with and use that play action to suck them in and then go over the top. Or if they're going to play coverage, you take what's underneath and then later on in the game, you go downfield. It's just, I want to see simple concepts like that. You don't have to make this too difficult. You don't have to, set yourself up in third and long situations because you're afraid to throw the ball on first down. So, things like that needs to take place. Spread them out, run the football in spread formations. Just don't be predictable. There's a lot of things you can do with this offense, and I just want to see that take place at a consistent level and not making, the boneheaded mistakes that just don't need to happen. So if we can do that, and then defensively, I would just like, see them be aggressive as well with the blitzing and the pressure up front, force these guys to make mistakes on offense for the Panthers and get Christian McCaffrey out of the game, force them in long situations where they have to throw the football and you pretty much take him away because that is their best player. They're going to find ways to go to him. So you just got to, take him out and then, get your stops on third down. Like, the guy said below me.
Oh, Chris. Yeah. My man, Chris. Okay, Chris, what are your keys to victory, man?
Yeah, I mean, the first key to victory is to defensively, you got to get some turnovers, or you can't go another game without getting the turnover. I think that was a big key to beat the Saints, was getting turnovers. And every week you're going to want to get turnovers. Get pressure on Teddy Bridgewater. Offensively, I just want to see something a little bit more consistent. I want to see tight ends used earlier in the game and not in the fourth quarter when you're down. And I want to see the Bucs just attack the weakness in the middle of the field over and over and over again. Because one thing that I haven't really seen in Bruce Arians' offense is they don't repeatedly attack weaknesses. They just kind of run their plays they want to run. And I think that's something that Tom Brady could bring to this offense that he was so used to under Bill Belichick. They would attack a weakness in 8 different formations over and over again. Whereas here we're just calling plays and going off which is the best matchup. Mike Evans on Tony Pride Jr. And I think even without Chris Godwin, the offense should be able to move the ball if he doesn't go, because I know he is in concussion protocol. So if he doesn't go, I still expect the wide receivers to have a really good day. Scotty Miller, was the second leading receiver on this team last week. And he should be able to get behind defenders of the Panthers. Just be more efficient in the run game. You don't have to run it 30 times a game. But when you do run it, make the most of it.
Yeah, there you go.
And then just special teams, you got to play better. You can't have those blunders you had last week. For the Bucs, I'm just going to call that unit teams until they earn the special back. Because I'm so tired. I'm over talking about special teams. It's been going on for 10 years at least. Yeah. And then offensively, I think if you shut Christian McCaffrey down, our defense is better than the Raiders, so we should be able to handle Christian McCaffrey, and that'll make the Panthers one-dimensional. And I just don't think Teddy Bridgewater can carry a team with his arm the entire game.
Yeah, there you go. I'm right there with you. Kenny, your thoughts? What are your keys to victory here?
Well, my biggest key to victory is the Bucs come in with that mindset that a top 10 college does for their first game of the year when they play that cupcake. I hope that they just
The homecoming game.
they win by 3-4 touchdowns. That's the kind of mindset that they need to come out in this game. They need to get on the Panthers early, and the defense, sets the tone. I love that Bruce Arians gave up the kickoff to again the Saints game, because that's something like he did last year. He wanted the ball first, and I think just having that mindset of let the defense set the tone, the offense just come out, pound the rock, get in the end zone, get in, get out. That'll help just give this team confidence, because that's what they need right now is confidence more than anything. So if they come in, with that mindset of we're just going to kick their ass from, kickoff to, shaking hands at the end. Pless and Chris have laid down, great things to do, but my biggest key to this game is just having that mindset.
There you go. To me, it's being consistent. That's probably the biggest thing on both sides of the ball. You want 4 quarters of football. Plus, you talk about it all the time. 4 quarters of football, and that's what you need to have, on both sides of the ball. And I think that's very vital. And Chris, to your point, I think turnovers are very important. Vincent Wright in the chat had mentioned making sure that you're aggressive. I'm trying to think the last time I saw a Bucs secondary as aggressive as what we saw on Sunday. And that is refreshing to see that. And that's what I can hope for. I can only hope for that this week, is seeing that aggressive play, not being scared, and just the way they lined up against those wide receivers. And these are elite wide receivers, and they lined up against them, and hey, we're just as good as you are or better. And that's that confidence, that whole thing, it carries a lot. And I think that, again, the defense is ahead right now, but I do believe that the offense will catch up, and they will eventually get themselves more involved in this. So to me, protecting the football is number one. The run game is going to be number two, because if you establish a lead and you can get the run involved, you get to stretch out the clock, you dictate, how the game's going to go, and you have a lead like that. And those stupid ass errors, who's this? Will the Brewers talking about mental errors, all those turnovers. I don't mind turnovers. It's just where they occur that bothers me, because if you get a turnover and, it's not a meaningful play, okay, who cares? But if you have a first down or you have a 20+ yard gain and you get a turnover, and now you're going back the other 10 yards, that's a problem. You can't have that. That's deflating, and it just takes away from the game. These things have to get cleaned up. So, again, it's one of those things. Devin White has to show out again. Levante David, they have to keep doing what they're doing. I think that's another key to the game as well. I don't know. For me, I think this team is in a really good position to really do some things, and I think they will. But Pless, I appreciate you coming on, man. Thank you so much. I do want to jump in here and do this. I talked about the hot seat. When we do have guests on, we do the hot seat here. And basically, it's 10 questions in 1 minute. I know you're going to do good because you are a super genius.
All right.
So,
do my best.
So these are questions that are around the NFL. It's all NFL related. I'm not going to throw in any rocket science or anything like that, because I know you can answer those questions too. But I'm going to stick to just strictly NFL here. So what I'll do is I'm going to ask you the first question. It's a buy or sell question, and we'll just kind of go from there, and then I'll start the timer. All right. Tampa Bay Buccaneers going to the playoffs. Buy or sell?
Buy.
Adam Gase will be the head coach of the New York Jets in 2021. Buy or sell?
Sell.
Todd Gurley in Atlanta. Boom or bust?
Bust.
San Francisco 49ers, contenders or pretenders?
Pretenders.
Ronald Jones runs for over 1,100 yards, buy or sell?
Sell.
Mitch Trubisky, contender or pretender?
Pretender.
Washington USC Trojans, contenders or pretenders?
Pretenders.
Cam Newton takes the New England Patriots to the Super Bowl, buy or sell?
No, sell.
The Dallas Cowboys, contenders or pretenders?
Contenders.
Who do you have, Warren Sapp or Derek Brooks?
Derek Brooks.
Dude, 53 seconds. You are the man. You are the man. I appreciate you, man. I knew you would do good on this, man. So I appreciate that.
Yeah, no problem.
So, again, what is can you kind of clue us in? What is the next episode of Real Bucs Talk going to talk about? What are you guys looking at here?
Well, hopefully, if the Game Pass ever decides to come out, I mean, we would be breaking down the game of last week against the Saints, just highlighting offense and defense, the key plays of that game. But not sure when that's going to be. So, we might be creating something different. We'll just have to wait and see. But we do have a podcast every Monday, live stream, 8 p.m.
Great show, guys. Check it out.
That is our big show on Monday. And then, we plan to have, film studies, in the same week of the previous game.
Yeah, there you go. Chris, my man, thank you so much. He actually got to call in live, and we got to talk with him a little bit last week. Tell everybody how they can get a hold of you.
Hey, no problem, Gene. Hey, I think the Game Pass took a bye week on the first week. I'm just clueless how they don't have that up yet. That's what my Twitter line's filled with.
With COVID, they've decreased the number of people that are actually working on that. And if you look at the user agreement now, I think it mentions it somewhere in there that it takes longer than it normally would.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I mean, you can find me on Twitter at TB_Bucs_for life. That's really the only social media platform I go on. And then if you like to read, then you can find my article coming out every Saturday. It's just going to give my 6 keys to the game offensively and defensively, and what I think what the Bucs can do to win their matchup that week.
All right. And Ken, how can everybody get a hold of you?
You can find me here and on Twitter at Bucs_Barrett.
All right, there we go. Shout out to the Brawl Network. Greatly appreciate working with those guys. I mean, there's so much good content out there. My goal was always to at least have a friend in all 32 teams, and I'm getting closer and closer to that. Thanks to these guys. But again, if you get a chance to check them out, they have some really good content. Greatly appreciate what they're doing here. We got the Bucs police here. Just making sure we don't have any bandwagoners. No, we're good. I think we're good here, bro. But thanks for checking us out. Again, man, this is going to be a fun game. I'm looking forward to it. Again, guys, it's so many more games in the season, and I think that's kind of the way you have to look at it. I mean, this was one game. This next game will be one game, and then the game against Denver. It's just we're just gonna have to see how Tampa does. I mean, I thought, the Saints were a good measuring stick, and I think if you can improve on some of the mistakes, I think this team will be just fine. But that's pretty much it for me and the rest of the team. And everybody, I'm going to give your final thoughts, and then we're going to roll out of here. And Pless, I'm going to start with you.
It's been awesome talking with all you guys. Glad to be on here. So I appreciate it, to be welcomed here and joined. So
You're always home.
But yeah, I mean, on this week, I think the Bucs bounce back. I think it's going to be a good game for them to rebound and get back to 1-1, and then start getting some consistency going and get some wins together. I think that's what's going to take place.
All right, Chris, tell what are your final thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, I'd be remiss if I didn't say this on a live show. Please do not subscribe to Shooter in the Stash.
Yeah, exactly. We're trying to get him off to Detroit.
Yep. He can go join Matthew Stafford
Exactly.
and blow 20-point leads. Anyways, it's more of a hot take, and I don't really generally like to looking ahead. But for all those people that overreacted about this game, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers will be 4-1. They will win their next 4 games before they go and play Green Bay.
That is what I'm talking about right there. That's what I'm talking about. You're the one. All right, and Kenny, your final thoughts.
My final thoughts, guys, just breathe and do not turn on your TVs to ESPN or Fox Sports 1. Find yourself whatever Bucs podcast you like. Stick to that.
There you go. I actually have boycotted ESPN since, how long has it been, Pless? About, 2014, 2015?
Yeah, it's
It's been a long time. I don't like ESPN. I don't like how they treat small market teams. Just NFL Network, I watch them occasionally, but it's not religious. I'm more like, Kenny was saying, podcast. That's kind of where I'm at. So that's kind of, to me, that's, what it is. For me, my final thoughts, the New Orleans Saints trying to hang 40 on Tampa, the hit by DJ Swearinger, and some of the other things that the Saints have done, they've just kind of taken this rivalry to another level. And again, all I have to say to those guys,
Hey, the Beds get fucked.
and that's just, how I feel about it, So again, we're going to see y'all again. We're going to see y'all again in a couple of weeks. So we'll see what's going on then. But guys, this has been fun. Thank you so much, everybody, for checking in. I am really sorry that Jeffrey Olsen, no Detroit slander here. No, thank you guys so much. It's greatly appreciated. We're going to do this again. I will get Zach Jarvis. I apologize. I will get back to the live calls next week. I promise you will get your voice. I promise you. Just so many good people on here. I wanted to get give everybody a chance to talk, and we're good. But that's it for us, and we're going to go ahead and roll up out of here. Again, thank you so much, Bucs. Bucs Brawl, if you can check them out, and Brawl Network, you're greatly appreciated. And we're out of here.